As the election draws closer, the battle lines for the over 60 vote have been drawn, with both major parties making lucrative promises to older Australians. But are they listening? Chris Allen cuts through the spin.
I think the Prime Minister should join a laughter club.
To cope with the election, all these senior citizens can do is laugh. So, Jim, how do you feel about this election?
I think it's the most confusing one I've ever seen.
Oh, look, I am so sick of Clive Palmer on the television.
They can tell you an awful lot before an election, but very rarely do you get what they promise.
So how do older Australians feel about what our politicians are offering them in the coming election? Well, to test the waters, we've travelled here to Hervey Bay, about 4 hours' drive north of Brisbane. This beautiful spot has become one of Australia's retirement capitals, with almost 40% of the population aged 60 or over.
All my life I voted Labor, but this election I'm definitely switching.
Like most we spoke to, Jim Bale has already made up his mind.
Yeah, I just can't believe some of the promises that Labor's making, quite frankly.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers.
Down at the Bowls Club, the mood is much the same. Any side in particular you've picked?
Of course, Liberal National Party.
You've made your choice already?
I've made my choice already.
I'm not saying which way I vote, but I'm just saying I don't like the man that's there now.
What would you say to ScoMo and to Mr Shorten?
Please, give us some concrete. We need something that we can step on and make sure that we're secure.
So what are the two big parties offering older Aussies?
First of all, it's about showing acknowledgement and respect for our senior Australians, and we're doing that particularly by making sure that we're continuing to upgrade and increase investment in aged care around Australia.
I think the Prime Minister is much better for the older people. Yes, the older people have to be looked after.
As well as a small rebate on their electricity costs, the Prime Minister says he has other benefits for pensioners.
We've extended the pension loan scheme to full pensioners. Now, that means that they can actually use, with the support of the government, the equity in their own home to improve their incomes as they are extending later in life.
This government can't match our deal for pensioners.
Labor leader Bill Shorten's big pitch for pensioners is $1,000 worth of free dental care in a 2-year period.
Do you know what it's like if you're a pensioner, not able to get attention on your teeth?
We get that. I've got a free set of dental in my mouth right now that was done up here in Hervey Bay. You know, they're offering things that are basically there already.
Janet tells us she believes Labor will put more into public education, and she has 2 daughters who are teachers, so that clinched it for her.
I have listened to Bill Shorten for a lot of years. He has always wanted to help the working man.
But the Shorten plan to cut some tax benefits doesn't sit well with some retirees.
I don't like their negative gearing policy, and I don't like their income franking credits. I don't like the idea of that. Those 2 things both affect me personally.
Mr Shorten, well, I'm afraid he is the bill we can't have.
I think it's fair to say the biggest concern for most older Australians is financial security, especially if they're retired or living on a pension. Research from National Seniors found that most of their members didn't believe that the politicians were listening to them and that they were easy targets when it came to budget cuts.
Really, there's a lot of pensioners who need more per week than what they're getting.
Cherith Wise from the Australian Pensioners and Superannuants League says what pensioners want most is an increase in the pension.
It's tough. I know, I'm a single pensioner and I live sort of fortnight to fortnight.
A lot of the people here are on pension only, and it's a nightmare. You want them to play bowls 3 days a week, they can't. They can't afford it.
Given that, you'd think pensioners would be lining up to vote for this man.
And the United Australia Party believes that our pensioners are hard done by, and we need to increase the pension by a minimum of $150 a week.
I mean, everybody would love it, but where's he getting the money from? No, I don't agree with it.
Not realistic?
Not really, no. No, I don't think it's $150 is ridiculous.
Yeah, he is pretty generous. But there again, look at the millions he owes workers. I wouldn't trust him one bit.
One Nation's pensioner policy includes increasing the payment for couples by $150 a fortnight. And Pauline has always done well at the ballot box in this part of the country.
I think that Pauline's been hammered a bit just over recent times, and she'll get a bit of a sympathy vote.
If she could just get the right people with her, she could do an awful lot. But she hasn't got the right people with her.
Our mantra is wanting to make Australia a better place for those coming after us.
Chris Osborne is from the Seniors United Party, formed 5 years ago to represent older Aussies. The party is fielding candidates in the Senate. Chris says they want a 3% increase in the pension and Medicare to cover general dental for all seniors.
People can vote for whoever they want in the lower house, but we'd like people to give us a vote in the upper house and so they can have a voice.
Do you feel to a degree that the older Australians have been ignored in this election?
I won't say ignored, but not given any real priority.
Back in Hervey Bay, as the sun sets, you can sense their frustration with what's on the horizon.
I've been stressed about it because I've been looking at how I want to vote. Because I want to vote, I want to make my vote count.
Karen Flannery says for her, it's also a question of sex.
I'd like to see a female Prime Minister. That's what I want to know, why we haven't got a female Prime Minister at the moment running. Be someone that has good policies like the Greens Party.
And Karen's advice to whoever wins is to start laughing.
So whoever it is, come and join a laughter club. Laughter yoga's all over Australia. Come and join it. At least it helps you deal with the stress you're going through.
Around 1 million Australians have already voted, with as many as 4 million expected to cast their votes ahead of the May 18 election.